Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to today's webinar with LNJ Enterprises and Verified First. We're super excited having an exciting discussion today. Everyone's still logging in. We still have quite a few people still to join us, so we're going to take just a few moments and maybe play a little game, if you will. And Latasha, our guest, in Dakota, you can participate. As everyone's logging in the GoToMeeting panel, GoToWebinar panel, you should have a chat function. We're going to test that out. Tell us where you're calling in from and help us understand where our audience is. Me, myself, I'm calling from Verified First headquarters, well, my home office headquarters here in Boise, Idaho. And I'd love to see where everyone's calling in from. You can hit that up in the chat and let us know. Kuna, Idaho, that's my neighbor. I know Kuna. Dakota, of course, he's right, my neighbor too. Anyone else, where are you guys calling in from? We got Latasha, we're gonna talk to here in just a bit from Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi. That's awfully warm this time of year down there. Anyway, again, take a moment, make sure chat's working. We're going to get started here in just another few seconds. Someone might have troubles with audio. Essence, if you can hear me, maybe Brianna, you can chat Essence and see if we can help her out. Nicole from Ann Arbor, MI, is that Michigan? I think that's it, Michigan. I think so. Michigan. Anyone else? Where are we calling in from today? Again, for those just joining, we're getting started here. We have a few more people still left to join. Take a moment, hit the questions on your GoToWebinar panel. Let us know where you're calling in from or hit the chat. Also, there's a couple good opportunities in this webinar to engage. So we're gonna have a few poll questions as we go out today, but really interested to see anyone. We got Michigan, we got Idaho, we got Las Vegas, Nevada. I love Las Vegas. In fact, I'm gonna be there on the 28th. Come say hi at HR Technology. Atlanta, Georgia. They got a great Coke factory there. I've been to that Coke factory, that's awesome. And of course, a great museum. South Haven, Mississippi, another Mississippi, Michigan. Awesome. So we're hearing people all over. So Essence is gonna try to help out there and see if we can get you some help if she can't hear anything. Anyway, again, welcome to our webinar. My name is Ben Cornett here at Verified First. We're going to go ahead and get started. Couple of housekeeping items. You know, we really want this to be interactive, so there's a questions and chat feature in GoToWebinar. Feel free to ask your questions. We'll answer them as we go, as many as we can, and hopefully call you out for your question. We're really happy today to partner with LNJ Enterprises in a webinar to discuss how background screening can improve the quality of hire. We know that we're in a talent war, so quality of hire and getting it right the first time becomes more and more important. So we're super excited about this partnership with LNJ Enterprises and also how we get to explore Verified First technology solution benefits for your organization. But before we dive in, we have a few quick items. Again, this session's being recorded. We'll be sending out a copy so you can share the recording with others in your organization or review it again if you'd like. I also encourage you to share the recording with those team members. Definitely a good opportunity to help educate everyone. The purpose of this is to educate everyone about background screening compliance, and specifically transportation industry. If you have questions, we'll provide contact information on the last slide. So don't hesitate. You can certainly stay back for those questions. And go ahead and chat your questions as we go. So without further ado, let me introduce our speakers today. Really happy to introduce, I'm gonna start on the far right side of your slide. Latasha McNair is with us. Hey, Latasha, say hi to everyone for us.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing?
I think we're good, hopefully. Latasha, you know, it's really excited that, you know, Mississippi is one of those places I love because I love food. You can tell I'm a foodie. So glad to have you join us from Mississippi. We'll be joining here in just a minute. And then Dakota, you know, obviously you're with us as well today. I know Dakota, he and I golf together often. So Dakota, welcome, calling from Boise, Idaho. Dakota, I'll let you kind of take it from here and introduce Latasha.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, appreciate it. Happy to have everyone on. Latasha and I have been able to become acquaintances and then friends over the past little while. I'm happy to have her on. I have a quick intro and bio for her and let her talk a little bit more about herself. So Latasha is the wife and mother of 4. So she has a crazy family life. as well as lots of businesses to operate and lots of love to share. They have a family trucking and freight business. She's an RN, so a registered nurse, so lots of different varied talents there with Natasha. She helps a lot with the trucking industry. She says she understands about 80% of trucking companies fail, and a lot of that has to do with compliance. That's kind of why we're here today. We're offering, a piece of that compliance to do with our partnership with LNJ, Verified First and LNJ, just a piece of that compliance that we'll hopefully get into a little bit more. She's taught over 500 individuals about transportation and compliance, and has helped a lot of those trucking companies start and then also remain compliant. So not only can she help you begin and get that started, but she can also help you continue your compliance as you can run your business. Lastly, she is a mentor with the Leading Ladies of Logistics Group and serves as a volunteer for various outreach programs and is an educator in various capacities as well. So Latasha, happy to have you on. Obviously, very qualified to be here, and we're looking forward to learning from you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you guys so much for this opportunity. As Dakota mentioned in my bio, LNJ Enterprises is a transportation compliance company. The reason for me starting the compliance company is because so many trucking companies go out of business due to compliance issues, and I want to make a change in that. I want to educate as much as I can, whether you have a trucking company, whether you want to start a compliance company, whether you're a dispatcher trying to help out. We want to change that narrative. Compliance in the transportation industry is not going anywhere, and it is very, very important. And Verified First has helped many of my clients with their compliance. A lot of people think, oh, it's just when I start up that I have to get compliance done. No, it's throughout your entire business. And Verified First has many different things that Dakota will go over throughout this presentation that will be able to assist with those compliance aspects that's needed and required. Let's not forget required.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and Latasha, as an educator myself, thank you for taking the time to educate people. I think it's really important, that we let people know that we care, and even though we're a company, we're in business to make a profit. At the end of the day, we want people to be more successful at the end of this webinar. So Dakota, if you don't mind, maybe this is a good chance to take a few moments and maybe talk a little bit about the partnership between Verified First and LNJ Enterprises.
Yeah, definitely. So a big piece of staying compliant is that background and drug testing realm. And so Latasha and I initially connected and, had that fit between our companies where she's helping companies stay compliant and we have that service. Really, there was a good fit there for us to align and provide those DOT products or those drug tests to her clients in that way. And a big part of it is just, being aware of those and being educated as to what those products are, what they mean. And so really in a tight-knit partnership, Latasha and us, we try to educate all trucking people that we come in contact with and clients of LNJ as to what those products are, what they mean, and how that helps you stay in compliance. Definitely. And then Latasha, I guess if you can describe a little bit of that relationship in terms of how it works with your clients with us.
Yes, so they've helped, you guys have actually helped on 2 realms, whether it's directly with a trucking company. It helps them streamline their hiring process, pulling the MVRs for potential drivers, pulling their pre-employment screening, even their drug screening. All those things, not only, like I said, are they pre-employment, but those are things that have to be done annually too. And with the dispatchers or compliance agents that want to start up their own trucking company, you guys have assisted them in partnering and learning your process and being able to use your system so they can in return, because not every trucking company wants to do their own compliance. So they source out to have compliance handled. And you guys have offered to assist that with my compliance mentees also. So you guys have helped in both realms, actually.
Happy to, yeah. Definitely.
I think we're really excited to be able to come together and help. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's all about what you guys do for your customers, right, Latasha? And, you know, you mentioned about being the compliance specialist. Is there maybe a good summary of LNJs for someone that doesn't know you that's maybe listening in, or maybe they find this webinar on our recorded panel somewhere? What would you like to tell everyone about LNJ that really would make them want to reach out and use LNJ as a resource?
Yeah, so LNJ really focuses on education. We walk you through your startup process all the way through running your actual business. With compliance, you have to not only look at the federal level, but you have to look at the state level to make sure that you are actually in compliance with your state also. We assist with all of that. We verify your drivers are competent, as in pulling their motor vehicle records, reaching out to previous employers to get their safety screening. Clearinghouse, a lot of people do not know about the clearinghouse because that is something that is new, but it's the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, in which it houses any violations, whether it's drugs or alcohol, with CDL holders. That is a very key component, and it's a mandatory component. So we educate you about those things. We educate you about yearly follow-ups that are needed within your trucking company. And like I said, not just federal, but on that state level too. Every state's Department of Transportation is different, and they will require different things. So we dig into whatever your state is, and we make sure we assist you with that. Racking up violations for unnecessary compliance things, you know, you're just spending money. Violations can go up to thousands of dollars that you have to pay out. And if you're a new trucking company, that can bankrupt you, because now you have violations on your safety performance score, and brokerages actually look at that. And if a broker see that you have a lot of violations, then they might not let you haul their freight. So violations hurt you in more ways than one. It really hurts your pockets, not only just from paying fines, but actually from making money. So we assist you with those things to ensure that you're hiring competent drivers and safe drivers.
Yeah, I think, Latasha, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it even gets more compliance becomes more regulated or strict, if you will, if you're more than just an owner operator and now you have a team of employees, a team of truckers, a team of drivers. I mean, even down to, at least my understanding at the federal level, is you have to have people that go through certain specific training to be certified to qualify the drivers, I guess. So it gets more and more in the weeds. Well, let's definitely shift a little bit. And I want to play a quick video. We're going to give this a try here, so bear with me. And this is about a minute long. This is a really quick why verified first, why background screening matters.
Hi, I'm Sarah. And this is Hank. Hank is applying to be a commercial driver at Acme. He appears to be a great candidate and has disclosed past infractions. However, he didn't mention he's been involved in multiple motor vehicle accidents and has had a variety of driving tickets. Additionally, he's been fired from 3 of his previous employers. With his history, hiring him might lead to a negligent hiring lawsuit and put your organization at risk. That's why vetting candidates like Hank through a PBSA accredited background check process is crucial to Acme. Not only can you reduce the risk of a bad hire, you can improve the accuracy and quality of hire. Revealing a candidate's history can help protect Acme and its employees. Not to mention, a bad hire can impact the retention of great employees you don't want to lose. To request a demo, visit verifiedfirst.com.
Well, awesome. I think we're going to go into a demo here in just a few seconds. Dakota, any initial thoughts about this video?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just highlights that there's a lot of different aspects to compliance, and one of those is background screening. You know, you need to figure out who you're hiring, if they're the correct, competent fit, like Latasha was saying, and that if they're not, it has multiple different effects, positive and negative, for that decision.
Yeah, Latasha, I'd love to get your perspective on the video as well. You know, Obviously, the main theme we created this video is around transportation. That was not a coincidence. That was intentional because there's so much around it, right?
Yes. So I have so many stories in regards just to this, and this is your foundation piece, actually performing the pre-employment background stuff. But I have so many clients that come to me and say, well, I had this driver, because we do corrective action plans too, meaning if there are violations, DOT can put the company out of service. I had one client whose driver, it was just a lot of violations. They were unplugging the electronic logging device. They were going over their hours of service. They ended up having an accident. And so I asked to see their pre-employment information. I asked to see their driver qualification file. And I got hit with, what is that? So I immediately told them, you know, DOT, Department of Transportation, is the least of your worries. You're about to get sued. And background checks, those initial screenings are not only important for your company just to make sure you're in compliance, but it helps you in lawsuits. Trucking companies have a huge red flag on them. Everyone knows that. And if a lawyer sees that, because of course you have lawyers that specialize in transportation, if that lawyer sees that you do not have your driver qualification files, just that basic information, look, it wants to show it again because it is so important.
So sorry, that's my bad.
But and even some people do not realize, even if they do not have a CDL holder, they still don't think that they need to pull those background checks, pull those MVRs, but that's very important. Even though they're not a CDL holder, you still need to know what's on, well, it's still mandatory for you to do it, but you still need to know what's on their driving record. How are you going to know if they're going to speed in your truck? If they are accident prone, you need to know all of those things. Drugs, alcohol, you need to know all of those things. And a lot of people skip over that step. They just hear trucking, trucking, trucking. I need to get a trucking company, or I need to hurry up and hire a driver so I can get my truck on the road. And they neglect to do those fundamental parts to keep not only their company safe, but keep the public safe.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And, you know, the reality is good things happen to, I should say bad things happen to good people. And, you know, this is a really interesting research, and I don't know if we'll spend much time on it here, Dakota, but the reality is back in 2021, so this year earlier, Aptitude Research commissioned a study. And in this study, they found that 39% of organizations across the board, not just trucking, this is across the board, you know, they're not screening every candidate. And, you know, in my mind, and Dakota, maybe you have some perspective on this, in my mind, that's kind of alarming, is because A, you know, 39% of companies aren't screening every candidate, but B, they should have the same process for every candidate. If you think about diversity, equality, and inclusion, you know, the process should be the same for everyone, right? It can't be different for one person versus the other. Any thoughts as we kind of go into our first poll question, Dakota?
Yeah, exactly that. And to echo what Latasha says, is having that fair candidate by candidate experience is the same. It insulates your company from potential legal liability, as well as just creates equality among the company. Definitely.
Yeah, and Latasha, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing you say is maybe in the trucking industry, that percentage might even be higher, right? If we look specifically at trucking.
Yep, if we look specifically at trucking and smaller, mainly smaller trucking companies, because they do not have the education or knowledge, or I wouldn't say funds, I would just say it's due to a lack of knowledge and due to a rush to hurry up and get that truck on the road because they put in so much money, or they're immediately trying to find a driver because they're trying to recoup money. But there are I'm pretty sure that percentage is extremely high.
Yeah, that might be an interesting study that we follow up with together, Latasha, Verified First and LNJ, is do a study just for the trucking industry down the road.
Yes.
I just want to take a moment and maybe do a quick poll question. Let me pull up this poll question for our audience. And for those of you listening, don't forget the chat and the question features are available here. I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll. So in the United States, we're looking US only. How many US drivers are arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol and narcotics every year? Is it less than 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, or more than 700,000? So we'll give a few seconds. I've seen the answer to this question many, many times, so I don't want to bias anyone. We have about 30% of our audience voted here. Give another couple seconds. Take a moment really quick. How many US drivers are arrested for driving under the influence, alcohol or narcotics every year in the United States? We'll give another second. About half of you have voted. There's still, I don't know, 10 or 15 people left. Take a moment, go vote, and we'll share the results. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and share the results on the screen. And most of the people have indicated that it's 100,000. Dakota, any comments you'd like to make about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you think might not be as common as it is. And I think we'll realize that here in a bit, that this is an issue, and it's something that obviously employers will want to know about and should know about.
Yeah, so we got obviously those that said more 700,000 is 25% of you. Good job. It's actually 1 million. And this is the Center for Disease Control. I know the data is a little dated here in July of 2019. Latasha, any surprises that there's 1 million people arrested? This is arrested, right? What about those that don't even get caught?
Exactly.
It just kind of blows my mind. When I first saw this result back in 2019, I was blown away. Any thoughts?
You know what? It's sad, but it's not surprising. Those that know what the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse is, that was the main reason that the FMCSA decided to go ahead and do the clearinghouse, because there were so many drivers with drug and alcohol violations that were essentially slipping through the cracks. But yeah, it's alarming, it's sad. But yeah, that was one of the main reasons why the clearinghouse was actually mandated for CDL holders. I know there are a lot of non-CDL holders out there, and as for right now, they're not required to be in the clearinghouse, but it is definitely alarming, and I'm pretty sure there's still plenty of them that do not get caught. And this just goes back to the importance of, checking, making sure your drivers are qualified in more ways than one.
And I think to that regard, probably even double checking and rerunning screens frequently, right? Because
yes,
a lot of people aren't forthfront, they're not coming to the front and say, hey, I had a boo-boo this weekend. It's like, you catch it 6 months down the road and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what happened there?
Exactly.
Anyway, obviously driver record check is a piece of the puzzle. Dakota, you can maybe share about other common screens when it comes to tracking or considerations for DOT.
Yeah, definitely. And so these 8 are just examples that Latasha and I have come up with that are very pertinent to the DOT industry. Obviously, each individual need and every client's needs going to be different. And at Verify First, we like to take that white glove approach where we help you in your specific needs. So these are just 8 general products that we offer that can help you in your DOT compliance route. And Latasha can talk to these as well, but I'll give you a quick overview. Obviously, you have your DOT employment verification, so that's going to check past employers, make sure that they were hired or they were a good, employee where they were previously at, anywhere from drug testing, alcohol, as we previously covered, as well as safety crash, so that'd be crashes or history as well. The PSP crash and inspection history, there's both a 5 and 3 year, so you can go more in depth or less in depth there, but that just makes sure that they don't have a history of that, or that you understand that they do when you're hiring, so you have that knowledge. Number 3, your CDL license. We want to make sure they have that CDL license if they're being hired for that type of job. That's up to date through the AAMVA, so we have that information for you. You don't have to worry about it. MVR, typical MVR, we just want to make sure that we understand their driving record so that we know who we're hiring. Number 5, the drug testing. There's several different drug tests you can run. There's a DOT 7 panel. We can walk through what that means and what that does, but it's important that you understand what their history is or what they currently have in their system. Same thing with breath alcohol testing. It's part of the drug testing consortium. So there's a program called the consortium that you have to have a random pool. We can explain that more in depth on individual calls. And Natasha probably knows a lot more about it than I do. But it's a program where you have to randomly sample your employees at a per time period, and we take care of that for you. We have that program in place, so you don't have to worry about that compliance piece. That led into number 7 with the random pools, and lastly, number 8, the physicals. That keeps their medical records up to date as well as their standard physicals. So every driver is supposed to have a medical card, etc. These physicals keep those up to date. And then, like Natasha was saying, we have that clearinghouse ability to check the clearinghouse, so we can check the national database and ensure that you're aware of infractions they may or may not have. All of this is about educating you as the employer or you as the business owner to avoid those negligent hiring problems and to ensure that you're hiring quality, drivers or candidates.
Yeah, I think we could obviously spend a ton of time here in talking about the different programs. I think maybe it makes sense for us to start the transition to actually show everyone how it works and how easy it is, probably. So, Latasha, I think it's pretty clear that you're the expert, and if anyone has questions about any of these programs, we're going to show them how to reach out to you here at the end, and obviously reach out to our team here at Verified First. Let's take just a quick moment here, and this may or may not apply, but before we pull up this poll question, there was a question that came in from Toniza. And if we can't answer it, the answer will say we don't know, we'll get back to you. Please accept that, Toniza. And hopefully I didn't butcher your name. So I think this question, Latasha, is probably more for you. For trucking companies, her question is, for trucking companies, who is required, and it's all caps, required, to get pre-employment screening MVR? Also, if the owner is not the driver, is it required?
So if the owner is not a driver, then he or she is not required to have a pre-employment application on file. However, if they are a CDL holder and they will be driving, even if they just plan to drive here and there, they might not plan on driving full time, that's totally fine. They do fall under the section of needing that pre-employment done. Ultimately, it falls on the business owner to ensure that all those pre-employment checks are done. Ultimately, it's their authority, so if they don't have those pre-employment verifications done, then they will be the ones to get the fine. The driver, unless it's their company, the driver isn't responsible for doing anything pre-employment besides going to take the drug test and filling out the approval to do the background stuff.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully that answers your question, Tony. Thank you. She replied that Tony is good as a name. So thank you for your question. It looks like she has a couple more, but we'll try to address those maybe towards the end. Really quick, this might be new or different for everyone in our audience, so I apologize, but here at Verified First, we are doing a year-long research project, and we're trying to understand areas of technology companies are investing in. And I realize that some of you might not even know what some of these are, so it's okay. But essentially, what technology are you considering to replace the next 6 months? A is applicant tracking system. So maybe you're using Excel and you're looking to find a system that would help you track applicants in your organization. B would be a CRM, which is a customer relationship management platform, also sometimes used to track applicants. Background screening solution, and then assessment, or if there's no replacement. So take a moment and take a response. We're just trying to find out if there's any investment or looking to invest in your platform in the next 6 months. Helps in our research study. We publish every year what's called a applicant tracking system buyer's guide. And in that buyer's guide, we'll share some of these results. So just a few more of you take a moment, let us know what areas of technology you're looking to replace the next year or so. Latasha, as people are voting here and taking the poll, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the technology you've seen some of your clients use and the value of those technologies when it comes to managing applicants and candidates, and maybe it's payroll, maybe it's onboarding. What are some of the technology you commonly see?
So mainly onboarding and background screening, being able to keep track of that. And typically, the companies are smaller, so they might just invest in just simple Google, and they might forget to input on the calendar when a driver's motor vehicle record needs to be pulled, or when their driver license expire or their medical card expire. So they actually miss it. And so once they miss it, they're now in violation. And if they would have had something to keep track of that, then that's money that they could have saved from that violation fine. Those are typically the main things. A lot of them do not have a tracking system to keep up when things are actually due for that driver. And this is for trucking companies and some of my mentees for that want to start, their compliance business. It's just keeping track of that. And with the background screening from my compliance mentee side, it's basically manually having to do all of that. So having an actual system that you can have everything housed in is perfect.
Yeah, definitely kind of what I expected, is we see some of that. Yeah, some of the results, just in case people are interested, it says 50% of our audience is looking at maybe replacing their applicant tracking system. 50% of the audience is looking at maybe replacing their CRM platform. 20% of the audience isn't looking at replacing anything. And 70% of the audience is looking for background screening. So kind of to your point, Latasha, people are definitely looking at the best solution. So background screening is important, Dakota. You and I both know that. Latasha knows that. How important is it?
Yeah, these are some quick stats for you. Obviously, as you read along, background screening makes you twice as likely to improve your quality of hires. This isn't often, I guess, thought of at first, that screening someone can improve your quality of hires, but it really is that education piece. It lets you as the employer understand, hey, this is the background, this is the situation this person is in. Are they a great cultural fit and compliance fit for my organization? So you're able to increase.
I've got to throw a wrench in just a little bit, but I'm going to ask you a question. But hey, I can't hire people enough, right? It's a talent war. There's not enough people to come drive. Doesn't background screening slow the process down?
It really doesn't. In the middle point, 3 times more likely to fill, especially with our system, you're able to go super fast, and then you're more confident in that decision as well. So you're not spending as much time debating between candidates or talking if they're a good fit. You understand their background, so you really do know a lot more about them, so you're able to move forward with that hire more confidently. And then lastly, you're going to keep your HR people. If you're the HR person, like Latasha, if you're the person doing it, you're going to be a lot more happy, a lot more satisfied in your hiring decisions if you're able to be, 1, fill the time quicker, and 2, improve the quality of hires. You're obviously going to have more satisfaction in filling those positions than if you didn't use those solutions.
Yeah, that might have seemed, Dakota, that we practiced that, and that was kind of canned. I promise it wasn't. The reality is, when you hire the wrong person, the cost associated with that is, 3 to 6 months of their salary, and you don't want to hire the wrong person. And when you think about time to fill, hiring the wrong person slows you down to get the right person in the seat. So there's definitely a lot here, I think, to unpackage, but everyone came to see how everything works. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and make you a presenter here, Dakota. And let's log in and show everyone what a background screen might look like from Verified First. So hang on 2 seconds. I don't want to mute you. You're a presenter. You're ready to go.
Perfect. I already got it. So this is the dashboard for Verified First. This is what you're going to see as an hire someone who needs to run a background screen. So I have up in here Verified First. This will say your company, obviously. So you come through here and you want to begin running a screen for your driver. All you have to do is click order. It's going to bring you to a page that looks like this once it loads. And there's a couple things to note here, just so don't get overwhelmed. First off, I want to point out that right here, the account, you want to make sure it's going to say your account. So you're going to say, hey, this is designated for this account. If you have multiple different accounts you want to run for, we'll set that up. But the biggest thing is a package here. So we went and created what we called a DOT package, and these are based off of the products we suggested in our previous slide or went over an overview, these can be created based on your need. Obviously, you're gonna have different compliance needs and whatnot. This is what you're gonna decide with our background screening specialist and with Latasha, is what is compliant and necessary for your role. So that package allows you to select a lot of different products, but really just the ones that are going to be compliant to your industry or your need. Once you create that package, it has those products, you're good to go. All you have to do is fill in the name. We have a dummy name obviously here, and their email and phone number. So I'm going to walk you through the process so you can see kind of start to finish what it looks like, and then you can understand. So let me type that in. So you have name, email, you have your package in there, correct account. You just click send invite. What that's going to do is, this is because our dummy account, and get to this next page. Perfect. Here, so what this is going to do is going to send this invite to their email and phone number. What we've found is texting out this invite to fill out the disclosure forms, the FMCSA forms, etc., knocks off a full day of turnaround time, 8.9 hours, somewhere in there, where they're not waiting on anything. They have it right on their phone. They can fill all those forms out and be ready to go. So that goes to time to hire. You're able to get this background screening done quicker because they're able to access it on their phone. Once this goes through, you agree to everything, it sends it to them. What that looks like, let me pull up, once it sends it to my email, I'll pull that up and come over. So it's the invite sent successfully. It's going to send it to you, and then it will look like this. Boom. So there's the email that comes through. And a big piece of this I want to make sure that you understand is customizable to you as the client. So you can make this wording look how you need it to, and we've worked through that with other clients as well.
So in other words, you can brand this, I think really
Correct.
brand, so it's a better user experience, right? They know that it's coming from you, the hiring company. They don't expect an email from Verified First.
Yeah, exactly. So they understand where it's coming from. Thanks, Ben. Just to show off a little bit of the process, I won't go through all the steps here because there's a few of them, but what they will see, they click begin steps, and this will send them the necessary forms based on what state they're in, etc. It outlines the steps here. You click get started. Bang, you go through electronic consent forms. It walks them through what state they need to be in, makes them put their signature in here, make mess, puts their social in, then I agree, perfect. So again, these are the steps. There's 11 of them for this particular package we have set up. I don't want to walk through all of them, but they do have to certify at each point what state they're in, that this is correct, from pre-employment services, etc. And so once they fill all this out, they'll be done. And then on your side, you go back to your portal here, and this button will say, pending on applicant, waiting an applicant. And as soon as they're done, you'll go to ready for review. You'll click on, in this instance, Hank Mess. And you'll be able to access this report from the portal. So you don't have to go hunt it down. You don't have to go try to view it somewhere else. But you're able to see it right in the Verified First portal. In the report right here, view report, you're able to see what it looks like. Background screening report tells you what, if they had records come back, it shows you them. If they didn't have any records come back, good for them, they didn't, etc. You can make those decisions based on what qualifications you have set up. And lastly, you can approve that person for hire through this, or you can take pre-adverse adverse action based on that report. And that's all housed within here so that you can stay compliant and you have the correct wording, the correct disclosure forms and acknowledgements all included within the form. So this is a quick view. Obviously, you'll be able to be trained and walk through this much more in depth. You understand exactly what's happening, but we wanted to give a quick view of this for you. Turn it back over to you, Ben.
Yeah, pretty simplistic. Now I know that was super quick, right? Latasha, did you get lost?
I didn't. It's very It's very simple, and it cuts out a lot of time. Like I said before, it's a lot of manual stuff going on. I was doing a lot of manual stuff. That's what I was telling Dakota. And doing things manually takes a lot of time. So you want to be efficient so you can handle, you know, whatever else it is you have to handle.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's really important to make sure that, you know, you've got the process down, and you know, anytime we can make processes better for candidate experience as well is super important in today's world. You know, and to your point, Dakota, the SMS capabilities verified first, you know, we actually launched our SMS capabilities about 3 years ago. In the background screening world, we were the first to market with background screening via SMS. Now everyone can do that. So I think that's really important. And as a result, you know, as you mentioned, we see 8 hours shaved off the turnaround time. For some reason, people today are more in tune to their phones. You can see all my notifications than, you know, opening up an email, right? And so that's super important. What as you look at, like, you know, our background screening, or this process of making sure me as a trucking company is compliant. Tony had another question that maybe we can help. That's not really related to your demo here, Dakota, but where do DOT physicals fall in place? Is that something on your end, Latasha, or is that something on the verified first end, or maybe it's a blend of both?
Yeah, it can actually be a blend of both. And the DOT physicals can be because you in the Dakota, I can't remember the exact name of it, but you guys do have a way to find locations where they can do their physicals at.
Right.
So every 24 months, anyone that's operating that commercial motor vehicle, whether they are a CDL holder or non-CDL holder, they must have a DOT physical, and it has to be done by a DOT approved physician. So your regular family practitioner cannot do it unless they are DOT approved. And Verified First actually has a database where you can find that. So yeah.
Good. Hopefully that helps, Tony, with your question. You know, I know that we're a little bit past our time today. We try to keep our seminars to about 30 minutes, so we're a little bit over that. But you know, at the end of the day, I think hopefully for our audience that's been listening, has been with us the whole time from start to finish. You know, I've done a lot of these, and sometimes we see a drop off at the end, but hey, everyone's stuck around. That means Latasha's awesome. And you know, I think as people have additional questions, you know, our contact info is on there. Any last comments for our audience that we want them to understand, Latasha, as we close up today?
Yes, so just understanding whether you are a trucking company owner and you want to handle your own background, or if you are a dispatcher or a compliance specialist looking for a new system to use, this essentially has every single thing you need in there, from pre-employment all the way up to the mandated things that are required to continue to run your business or help your customer or your client to run their business efficiently and compliant, all the way from the paperwork side to the drug testing side. You essentially have everything you need in one spot. And this is whether you're a trucking company owner and you're doing this on your own, or if you are looking to become a compliance specialist and help out other trucking companies.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think one last question came in, and Dakota, we see this question often. You know, it always comes down to price, and I think it's really interesting. You know, when we think about price, you know, we want to be really cautious, and we say that because there's so many different factors that come into compliance. Any comments about price to use a service, Dakota? I know to get set up and get started, there's no cost, right? There's no monthly commitment, there's no minimums. Outside of that, anything you want to say about price?
Yeah, exactly. No monthly minimums, no setup fees, all that. Really, the only thing you're going to pay for is whatever screens you run. And that's the tricky part with price, is that every client, every situation is unique and different, and those screens are combined to a different price. And so the best thing for pricing is to get in touch with Verified First. Obviously, no obligation call, but we'll be able to help you through that process and understand your needs. There's over 160 different products we have And so to give blanket pricing is a very tough question, but we're going to help you specialize to exactly what you need, and we'll be able to give that to you in a very detailed report after that call or during that call. So in terms of general pricing, is very tough, very hard to give, but we want to help you, and that's, I think, a big reason we can't give just blanket pricing, because it's specific to your needs. Definitely.
I think that's really good call out, and they could reach us. Obviously, contact info's on the screen. They can reach out to Latasha. Either way, they'll get a hold of Verified First. Nicholas, I wish we could answer your question more specific. What I can say is we're not the cheapest in the market, and we're not the most expensive. We're somewhere in the middle. So again, we want to make sure we get it right. That's the most important. Well, Dakota, Latasha, what? Go ahead. Sorry.
I said, but it saves your company by getting this done. So
yeah, don't skip it because you're worried about spending $100, right? And I don't know, I don't know, maybe the screen's $30, maybe it's $100, maybe it's more, I don't know. So don't skip it because you want to save a few bucks. That's the message. Well, Dakota, Latasha, it's been fun today. Hopefully we get to do this again. And to our audience that's listening, we greatly appreciate your attention, and hopefully we're here to help out. Again, our contact info is on the screen. Dakota, as we wrap up, any last closing remarks?
There's not. Honestly, a big resource is going to be Latasha, and she's going to be a huge main point of contact. She and I have a great working relationship, so if you contact her, have any questions, she and I talk a lot. So please use Latasha as a resource. She's amazing. And thank you all for attending. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Have a good rest of the afternoon and happy middle of the week. Bye, Latasha.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.